Hello, sim captains and crew. Welcome to Frankfurt International Airport today. And what we see before us is, of course, the, I would say, probably much anticipated SSG 747-8 Enter. This download came out today. Of course, today's October 31st. For those of you who celebrate Halloween, happy Halloween to you. This aircraft was just released on the xplane.org store this morning when I found it. So this is going to be a very rough kind of crash course about how this aircraft differs from the V1. I had the V1. This, of course, is the V2, the newer one. And we will continue on there as we kind of run through a non-flying overview this morning. Unfortunately, the real world life calls, and with that comes the job. So stay with us while we check out our first impressions of the SSG 747-8 V2. First things first, I guess the question everyone wants to know is price. Well, how much is this? Well, in the xplane.org store, the 747-8 V2, which I believe they're calling the Inter Anniversary Edition, is $65. For those of you who had the V1, like I did, it's a 40% discount, I believe is what they say, when you add it to the cart and are logged into your account. Price comes down to, I believe it was $39 or $40, right around there. So if you had the V1, you're going to have that little bit of savings there. If you didn't have the original one, well, that's the price you've got. One of the first things I did look at, if we go up here to our configuration, you will notice here we have the old freighter and the Interconti. This aircraft ships with a default livery here, which is an SSG, kind of a nice looking livery, and the Lufthansa. So as you can see here, we have selected the Lufthansa for today's video as that thing bounces there. Why no more? Well, I won't go over all the details of the SSG. Please go to the change log, or the sorry, not the change log, but if you go to their website, SSGs, or xplane.org, functionally this is an entirely new aircraft. The team retextured, rebuilt, remodeled almost everything. There's going to be the grumblings of, I bought the V1, why isn't this just an update? That's not for me to decide, but to be quite honest, if we want improvements in the aircraft, this functionally is a new one versus the V1 with all the work the SSG guys have done. So that's the cost of entry, either the 65 or about $40 if you had the V1. But this right now is the only livery you get. Brings me back to what I was going to talk about before I got sidetracked. The old liveries, according to what I've read on the forums, do not work on the V2. So if you have V1 liveries that are extra liveries, or the ones included with the purchase of it, they do not work on this one. You can see here we have a little power cart, no power cable, but that's okay. We're going to start running through functionally. We're going to kind of just do a cold and dark start. Again, this is not going to be a flying tutorial, so I won't discuss that. We may bring that in a follow-up video. That would be the plan. We are a couple hours before I need to go to work, so I happened to notice this was available and wanted to get a video out there. I know I for one, I enjoyed the original V1. However, there were some things compared to especially other publishers out there, or developers, that it was a little weak. And I mean, a product's good until you have something to compare it to. I believe I believe the other flight brother there, Tim, really liked the 707 that he had. And then when he had a similar vintage aircraft, which was the Fly J727 to compare it to, he realized the shortcomings of that. All right, we'll take a look back over here at this tablet, which I have been messing with this just a little bit, and to be quite honest, I like it. Ground service tab here. It's kind of a smaller, it's like a smaller click region when you start getting off center, or it seems to be down the center. So we have our doors and GPU here, which I don't really, now it says GPU connected. Okay, whatever. All right, but the fueling I like. I was not a huge fan of the other ones. Actually, while we're here, let's go to options. We have kilos available, as you can see, and then we have kilos, pounds, real-time fast to align, show and hide rain effects. This does have the LiveBrain plugin, which has been brought to the Zibo and the FlyJSim 727. There's a lot of people that are big fans of the rain effects, and I do think it's cool. The V2 has that added, so I'm going to leave it kilos there just for the sake of doing this. Normally I'm a pounds guy, so I'll do that at some point. But back to the fueling. Not sure what the set predicted is. I don't really care. But here, if you go 100, let's clear our fuel. And then if we click, you get the hundreds, tens, ones, by the thousands. And then if you screw up, you can clear it. So this is a lot easier than the old method that they had in the V1. I'm a huge fan of this. You can see we have 95.7 on board. We're going to click fuel, and then you can see our fuel tanks begin filling, which actually flows pretty quick. For some reason, I don't think in real life that would be the same amount. We'll let that just kind of run to 130 here while we go through payload. And again, the payload is, oh, that's cool. You can see our takeoff weight adjusting. Zero fuel is already set. Let's see how this works. This doesn't appear clickable or scrollable. Guess you can have some presets there. Let's do this. What's that do? Okay, so our preset 1, 2, 3, and 4 is a, looks like a load index. 25 to 80% there. That gives us max. Okay, so if we click the kilos, we lose our kind of rough preset. And the original one had the rough preset as well. I wasn't a huge fan of that, to be honest. It's okay, but for those of you who fly SimBrief and kind of let it decide, okay, there we go, that's loading. Not sure what I had that originally loaded for, so we'll see if that goes up to 37.8. I like to be able to click on here and just type that in. Now I could probably go up here to the weight and balance and just add it here, which is honestly, it's probably what I'll do. But this is okay. Sound. It's not FMOD sounds. I think it's like BSS or something. I forget who did that. You guys can take a look. I'll try and drop the links for something for those of you who want to take a look at the more detailed information between the V1 and the V2. But this is kind of nice. You do have the ability to adjust your sounds here on the fly. Quiet engines. I think that turns it down. This aircraft, I did notice, it's quite quiet from the get-go. Anyway, the engines are so far back from the flight deck that it's very quiet. And let's do... See, what did we do here? I don't know what reset checklist does. Let's see if we can scroll back. Let's click reset. Okay, there you go. So for you guys who didn't see that, I'll run through that one more time on our pre-flight tab. Let's just select. Okay, so that's done there on the pre-flight, as you can see. We'll go over here, click reset checklist. See, this is a big button. It's got a pretty small sweet spot in it there. And then it resets it. So, all right, we've taken a look kind of at the initial APU run up there. The displays here available on the iCast. This interface, which I do like a lot better than the V1. I wasn't familiar enough with the V1 to comment on the texturing here. Honestly, it looks a little better, but if you said what's different or what's better, honestly, I couldn't tell you. I didn't have enough time in it. You know, as I said, I had around 5 or 10 flights and a few hours, probably 20 hours or so, and it doing mostly shorter Atlas hops in it, cargo hops. But there's a little bit of the kind of the finer points of texturing. They seem a little bit flat, but that's okay. I'm sure with any of these, it's going to come out. There's going to be updates. I'm sure the forums and Facebook and everything's going to be buzzing over people who like it or don't like it. To be quite honest, for me, to have a Dash 8 747 that I've kind of sort of purchased twice, but for $40, I'm happy with it. I don't remember what I originally paid, but it was probably around $50 or $60 for the V1. Did I get my money's worth out of that one? Probably not, but that wasn't through any fault of SSGs. That was simply my time on the sim and to be able to fly it. So real quick, we'll run through, let's see here. We'll run through engine starts. So we have our APU gen on, of course. Our APU bleed is on. We have our packs on. We'll turn those off. We have our bleeds on. That's cool. We have fuel pumps on. Center and stab tanks are empty. Let's go ahead and throw on our lower. This is another one of those that's, you can click in the middle and then you kind of, let me see how this works. So it kind of likes the click and drag as well on this switch. So I'm not sure if, yeah, it looks like they've turned all of these anyway into click and drags, which I guess that's okay. Keeps you from accidentally clicking in an area and turning your lights on or off, so that's all right. I kind of like that, to be honest. It's just one of those things you have to learn with the airplane. This one I tried earlier, the emergency lights, when I was running through stuff. It moves opposite, and I couldn't figure out where the click area is to shut the guard. So, not sure about that one. Alright, back to the engine start. Let's just start 4. We've got the starter going. And again, guys, I don't know. Might help if I get the engine page up here. Don't know what the N2s are. I'm not really doing that for this purpose. I'm going to run it up till it starts to kind of get stagnant there. And we'll add fuel. We'll get a good start in there. Let the engine come up, stabilize. Tell you what, let's take a look outside. Alright, we'll take a look, and I'll tell you what, we'll go out real quick while I start 1. I don't care if we do a hot start, I just want to hear the sounds from outside. So we'll try and get that started. Fuel control to run. Alright guys, just kind of playing while we're out here with the flaps. You see the leading edge slats there extend while I was, sorry about that, I think I bumped the microphone stand. See the slats as well. Again, the HDR texturing, very nice. The flaps, which I don't think the exterior model was particularly bad on the V1, to be honest. I didn't have... If I had any of the complaints, it probably would have just been... I mean, you spend most of your time up here. It doesn't have a cabin, so if I had any complaints, it probably would have been that. The cabin, I don't believe, has been added. This door doesn't appear openable, so... Oh, wait a minute. Maybe, did I have a cabin? Alright, well, I stand corrected. This is a little different experience. Maybe it was the 727 that didn't have a cabin. I don't know. I'm confused with my airplanes. Anyway, guys, as you can see here, it has a deck, a cabin. Good thing we were having this discussion and I decided to take the tour. I don't want to have misspeak as much as possible. It's, I guess, stainless steel coffee pots and then a water container over there. We have this coming down. It's kind of... Alright, that's interesting. So... I don't know what's going on with that. Let's take a look back here. This is neat. You can kind of see some of the... through the gear there. So the upper deck looks complete. The bottom, or the lower deck here... I'll have to play with this and see, guys. See if that's just missing textures or maybe they're planning to update that. Let's run quickly if we can through here. So we have our init buttons. Let me just punch in where are we at here? EDDF. I think I picked Frankfurt. GPS position, set IRS. There we go. There's the range. If you crank down on this, you get the... Okay, maybe you don't get the map. Time to align, 7 minutes. Alright, did I set that up here? I'm in nav, so... That is okay. We'll take a look here anyway. Again, we'll mess with that. Let's see our nav data, load FMS flight plan. Alright, that opens, I guess, an FMS folder here that you can keep your flight plans in. That was unexpected, and I don't use that anyway. Will in it, yeah, sure. Units, kilos. Alright, we have, I guess that's telling us what it is. Oh, there we go. Now we have our airport diagram. I saw a comment on Facebook where somebody posted this and asked how you get that. Oh, it's the aircraft. Very cool. I like aircraft that do this. It gives you that map overview when you zoom in. To be honest, probably all commercial aircraft should have them, and especially with the availabilities of electronic flight bags and everything now, I realize a tablet versus a flight management computer is going to bring its own certification issues, etc. But kind of hard to imagine why we don't do this on everything. So when I click the units here, nothing happens. I think that maybe is just telling us what unit format we're using. The ident, of course, we have our engines, AIRAC cycles, our standard stuff there. Looks to be a normal Boeing FMS logic. Sorry there. Had to download what I was thinking. Since we got a perf page here. I think the font has changed. I think they've made the font look a lot more like the other Boeings. Something here is different that I can't quite put a finger on, but I believe that's what it is. We have our D rates here, our climbs, takeoff, flaps, VREFs. Again, guys, I'll probably make a video in the next, if not the coming days, the next week, We'll try and get that on the channel. Talk with the other flight brother there. See what we've got going on. What's coming out. We had a couple of things. Don't want to do that. Clear. Clear. Delete. Delete. And we'll see what we can get out there. Again, wanted to get a... I don't know that I would call this a first look, but definitely some of the things I noticed. And again, guys, your mileage may vary. I have a low time in the original one, but there were a few things right off the bat. I like this feature and functionality way better than the built-in one that they had. The switches, again, the fuel pumps are all individual. They're not ganged anymore. Definitely a step in the right direction. Let's take a look at the fuel synoptic again here, and we'll click some of those off before we wrap up. So I'll tell you what, let's turn off cross feeds and pumps on the right side and see how that looks. And actually, maybe, okay, that cross feeds off. We'll turn that off. You guys can probably hear me clicking. And I'm not sure. Oh, there's our click region. That's okay. So your click region is up here, kind of on this diagram, which kind of goes along with the battery logic. So I would be willing to guess a lot of these are that have covers. Yeah, a lot of them that have covers, guys, are about the same distance above the button, so that is good to know. Keep an eye out for that. Let's try for the fuel jettison nozzle here as well. Yeah, see. All right. So if it has a cover on it, click a little bit above it, and that's the money. Actually, I wonder if this is the same way here. Okay, guess not. We're still out on that. Jury's still out. You can see here the cross feed valve's off and the fuel pumps are shut down. So that was a brief first look here, ladies and gentlemen, at the 747-800 V2 by SSG. $65 on the xplane.org store currently. If you're a V1 owner, a previous version owner, it is about $40 US. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. We'll do a follow-up for sure, taking a look at some of the flights, as we have a Lufthansa 717 landing there at Frankfurt. So go out if you're interested in it. That's the prices. It's up to you to decide if you want to give SSG your money or not. I'm looking forward to doing a flight with it and actually programming the FMC and doing all that stuff. But wanted to get a video out to you. I know there's going to be a lot of questions talking about what does this have or what is different. So we've showed some of the stuff here in the buttons, the interior configurations. Obviously not addressing the flight dynamics here. We do have an upper cabin in the Intercontinental. Hope you've enjoyed this video today as we took a quick look at it here on the Flight Brothers FT. Hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button and that you've enjoyed today's content. Take a look around on the channel. We have other content on various default and add-on aircraft, as well as we're trying to mix a little bit of real world with X-Plane or flight sim in general. So take a look at those videos. I believe one was posted last week. Again, click that like and subscribe. If you want to find out when we're posting, click that bell. We try and do a live stream about every 2 weeks. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at FlightFT, at FlightFT 2019, and Flight Brothers FT out there on Facebook. So we hope you will follow us on there. We have real world and sim content. Until our next video, thank you guys for stopping by, plan the flight, and fly the plan.